Hello and welcome to Region Locked. To some, the name MapleStory is synonymous with MMORPGs, being a hugely popular free-to-play MMO during the early 2000s. The game, set in the Maple world, involves character creation, 2D platforming, leveling, and of course, interacting with an online community of players. Created by South Korean developers Wizet and published by Nexon, the game had many versions around the world with dedicated servers in South Korea, Japan, North America, Europe, Thailand, China, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Brazil. The series received a number of spin-offs and adaptations, including multiple versions for mobile devices, a discontinued Facebook game, a trading card game, and even an anime. MapleStory continues to be relevant even to this day, with MapleStory 2 having received a worldwide launch in October of 2018. However, 2 portable console releases were also created, concentrating heavily on a more single-player-oriented experience, neither of which received English localization. So, today, we'll be looking at MapleStory DS and MapleStory 3DS: The Girl of Destiny. We'll start with MapleStory DS. MapleStory DS was released in South Korea in 2010 and Japan in 2011. On a first playthrough, the player is able to choose between 2 classes, a warrior or a thief. Upon completion, the choice of a magician or a bowman are also unlocked. Each class follows their own unique scenarios, with their own stories based upon their classes. The game's primary story involves the world's teleportation portals, used in MapleStory to move between areas. The portals are normally blue and link from one nearby place to another, but during the opening events of the game, they begin to disappear. Red portals have sprung up around the world which link to random places, making moving around the world of Maple almost impossible. As time goes on, the people of the world have become used to these new red portals, but several wizards have grown concerned, as a passage of a story called The Genesis of the World states that, in ancient times, when everything was in the midst of chaos, the goddess began time with her staff. Order was defined, and the human world was created. With this lack of order, perhaps this is the undoing of the Maple world as it has been known. Each character begins with the same prologue, but slowly branches out into individual paths for each different class. As opposed to the original MapleStory, in which skills are obtained through leveling up, skills are instead unlocked from skill books. These books can be obtained through both purchasing them in a shop, or they are dropped by some monsters. Unlike the PC edition of MapleStory, the player is given a number of additional basic skills to use, such as a dash maneuver from double tapping a direction, as well as guarding. As the game is a single-player adventure, the player must also save their progress manually. A quick save feature can also be used from the status menu. AI-controlled partners join throughout the journey, who follow the player's commands. They follow the same movement path as the player, as well as attacking at the same time. One element to MapleStory DS that may surprise many people is the lack of online play. The company decided that, in order to concentrate heavily on a more enjoyable single-player adventure experience on handheld, they would not continue to explore the idea of multiplayer. However, the game does have some interactivity with the PC release of MapleStory, supplying codes which can be used to unlock items in the full PC release. MapleStory: The Girl of Destiny was released for the Nintendo 3DS in South Korea in 2013 and Japan in 2014. The game differs significantly in execution compared to both its PC counterpart as well as the handheld predecessor, featuring more fleshed-out animations as well as a unique playable character as opposed to a lightly customized player-created class. The player takes on the role of Mugi, a young red-headed orphan who lives among pandas after her parents died in battle. During the game's introduction, Mugi is told by her martial arts instructor that a scroll containing a secret technique has been stolen, and that the thief must be apprehended by the students. As a reward, they will go up a grade in their training. However, after recovering the scroll, Mugi is attacked by a collective of androids until a mysterious power awakens within her. Mugi is joined by Ramin, another disciple, and the two set off to Herbtown to learn more about the mysterious dark creature that emerged from Mugi's forehead, and to uncover the truth behind the sudden appearance of androids across the world. The player is able to take on a variety of subquests on their journey, with each providing a plethora of rewards. While MapleStory is known for full character customization, this has simply been relegated to equipment within the Girl of Destiny. The variety of equipment can change the player's appearance, such as different armor, headgear, and weapons. Several elements to the Girl of Destiny are clearly improved over the much more rudimentary MapleStory PC and its early DS counterpart. The game features more consistent artwork for character portraits, as well as vastly improved animations and mechanics. The player is capable of running and platforming much more precisely. In fact, the map is built around the ability to perform running jumps to cover larger gaps. The world contains a number of interactive environmental elements that can be used within combat, such as rolling boulders. Rather than saving at specific points, the player is able to save at all times when out of a boss fight. Those save statues can be found which recover all health and MP. Skills are learned from both leveling and are taught to the player throughout the story. The game makes use of both of the system's screens, having gameplay on the top screen and a mini-map available on the bottom screen. This screen can also be changed to display the variety of assigned skills to the game's control pad, as well as 2 assignable quick-use item slots. Similar to MapleStory DS, 3 different AI-controlled partners join the player on their adventure. Unlike MapleStory DS, after completion, the game simply allows the player to continue completing subquests and explore the world, though without any additional characters or game content unlocked. The team who had worked on these portable titles were not the same staff behind the original PC MapleStory, though as a flagship series for the company, a lot of advice and feedback was passed down. Assistance was provided to round the project out by both Nintendo of Japan and Korea, though how they helped specifically was never stated. It was initially considered to allow for game updates and downloadable content to be developed for MapleStory DS, though this was dropped after consideration of the costs involved as well as the need to keep a team on board for development. With the game's sequel, the team recognized that many players of MapleStory DS never actually completed the title 4 times, once for each class, and thus not all of the game's story was actually digested by the player. This was why the team decided to create the sequel, with a focus on only a single character. The team considered 3 possible classes for this character, including a mechanic or hunter, but ultimately chose a battle mage as it was considered to be more popular with the existing player base. There was a rumor in Korea after the release of MapleStory DS that much of the game's popularity and sales figures were directly tied to the inclusion of coupons for items within the PC version of the game. After analyzing the sales figures and usage of these coupon codes, it was revealed that very few players had actually used these coupons. As a result, the concept was dropped for the Girl of Destiny. When asked about the only playable character's gender, Hong Seung-joon, the team leader, simply stated that the character is pretty and cute. It took the team only 2 years to create the Girl of Destiny, while it took 4 years to create its predecessor. MapleStory DS was announced during E3 of 2006 and was first demonstrated in 2007 in a joint effort between Nexon and the newly formed Nintendo of Korea. Initially, the game was slated for a release in the same year, though this was not met. With a long wait for news on the title, Nexon announced the release would finally come in 2009, and later, January 2010. However, again, this date was missed, and the title wouldn't see release until April 15th, 2010, the same day as the Nintendo DSi launched in South Korea. Taking this into account, as well as the fact that the Nintendo 3DS was set to launch just 1 year later in Western territories, the game didn't seem likely to receive an English localization. MapleStory has a fiercely strong following in South Korea, with many continuing to play the original PC release from 2003, with Western territories holding a more cult nostalgic view of the series. The game was created in partnership with Nintendo as a way to convert the solid PC gaming audience of South Korea to Nintendo's handheld. With this in mind, there wasn't much of a need or interest from publishers on releasing the somewhat niche title to English players. In 2007, Nexon's American division held a Q&A with Gamasutra, but stated that they would not answer any questions on the DS iteration, as they were not ready to discuss them at the time. With MapleStory, the Girl of Destiny on 3DS, the lack of localization becomes a little more confusing. The game released somewhat early into the 3DS lifecycle in 2013, and is considered by many who play it to be a game which holds up regardless of being under the MapleStory banner. A very rough fan translation of MapleStory DS was created by fans by simply throwing the Japanese version's text files through Google Translate and re-injecting them back into the game. As you can imagine, this results in some very inconsistent, nonsensical, and sometimes even highly offensive lines of dialogue which doesn't even begin to represent what the game is supposed to be about. MapleStory, The Girl of Destiny, however, has had a full English fan translation created by Team Maple from the GBA Temp forums, which has seen several revisions to fix problems as well as refinement of files to decrease loading times. The initial release of this translation took the team only 7 months to create, meaning that for a full-blown paid release, the work involved would have been minimal to create a title that could be released at retail. In an interview with Nexon, it was revealed that The Girl of Destiny was created as a result of the success of MapleStory DS. However, the Nintendo 3DS simply didn't catch on with the Korean market as the company had hoped. It's most likely that the lack of sales didn't invoke confidence in the game's ability to recoup even the small work that would have been necessary to localize the title internationally. A localization of the original MapleStory on DS would have been a possibility, however, as it had sold over 200,000 copies. But with its incredibly late release date after years of delays, it was always very unlikely to happen. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I grew up with MapleStory. I always thought it was great, but I never got to play these portable endeavors, so I thought, why not give it a go? Turns out, The Girl of Destiny, pretty good. As always, thank you immensely to our patrons. They are the reason that we keep doing what we doing. Skibidi-beep-bop-boop-bop-a-doo.